can get the Wellspring. I'm probably supposed to mulligan this and assume that they were playing against Tron. When is my birthday? I actually have a really fun numeric device to remember my birthday. Because you can I actually to the tune of my mother's maiden name, my the street I had growing up, and my first pet. It all kind of like the tune goes pretty well with my birthday. I'll tell you what that is in a second after I finish mulliganing. Let's go into 5. Monkey and Counterspell against Tron is really good here. I do think that Blue-Red Murktide has a good Tron matchup. Just like the card Counterspell Charm, backed up by Cheap Pressure, is a really good formula for beating them. On a blue Tron? Okay, well, we're dead. Just dead. For a city of mom's dog. All these great questions. It's so great to see chat really taking an interest in my personal life today. Postboard. No. Alright, so their hand is Mindslaver, and they're drawing Urza's Mind next turn. We're drawing this turn 2 lands. Let's go. We can get Delirium. Probably at the end of our opponent's turn. I might get Blast Zone here. Sorry guys, I'm just teasing you, Drox. I'm just teasing you. I'm not actually bothered that you asked. I'm just doing a bit. I also don't usually like to say my birthday because then people will make a big deal about it on the day. And I've streamed 2 birthdays now. The first year I was able to make it through without chat realizing. And I didn't successfully do that this year, but I'm hoping that next year I can make it through birthday wish free. So hope my opponent doesn't have Tron, huh? We know that they've got Mindslaver. I think I'm Thought Scouring myself. Have to graveyard since it's going to the graveyard anyways. Could have maybe kept that, but I mean I don't really need to land that badly. I really want to find a counterspell. Murktide seems good. Elder Deep Fiend is the top card of my opponent's library. Holy guac. Wait, are the Olympics still going? Birthday celebrations are for my TikTok, yeah. So yeah, nobody's found the secret TikTok yet. I think I should probably just make another TikTok, and post it to the account to give people a chance to find it, because I've only posted 1 so far. So I'm gonna have to think of a second one to do. Give people a chance. The Paralympics, gotcha. I haven't followed any of it this year. I used to like to follow the Olympics, but now I guess I'm just esport, you know. I think I like countering this. I could maybe this is bad if my opponent is able to Mindslaver us, but also like, you know, Dragon Rage's Channeler is kind of great against Mindslaver. Dragon Rage's Channeler is kind of great against Mindslaver. So I guess they'd be able to Unholy Heat it. My opponent will go upkeep. Yeah, I think we should be safe to play Murktide this turn. I know one of my opponent's 2 cards is Mindslaver. It's not Power Plant. They can't Expedition Map and Mindslaver this turn. I think we should be safe here, right? Famous last words, huh? So now they took a draw step instead. That draw was Elder Deep Fiend. And they concede because they're like, oh crap, how did this get in the deck? Not again. Flusterstorm, or so the rejection for sure. Some amount of Flusterstorms probably. I mean, I can play like 1 Unholy Heat for their Elder Deep Fiends, I guess. We'll play like 2. Play the Storms. Like 2 Alpine Moons probably. I don't think I went the full 3 against them. What am I playing in the challenge? I'm playing the Grixis Dress Down Shadow deck. That's close. Let's keep it. I'll draw, get a Bauble. Find some lands, huh? Very close. We have 4 looks at our second land. We've got Alpine Moon for their lands. I like this hand. Ding 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 ding. Easy. I forgot how fun this deck is. It's just like so smooth. It's so good. I like this deck a lot. You can see why Dress Down is serviceable. Why specifically is it in this deck? So I find that this deck is soft to both elementals and is soft to Sanctifier and Vec to some extent post board against Hammer Time. And Dress Down is like a very good answer to both of those problems. It's like if that's the problem, that was the problem I wanted to solve with like those sideboard slots, and it feels like that's just the way to go. Now maybe it's not the best individually at solving either of those problems, but it's it's nice that we get to dedicate spots to both of those matchups, you know. You seem like you're refreshed today. Really, I feel thank you for saying that, but I really don't feel good today. Thank you for saying that. I feel like maybe I'm at like 50%. That's like the opposite of when someone tells you, "Hey, Spike, you look really tired today," and I feel fine. Blinky SS SC, thank you for your subscription. Appreciate you, buddy. Last 2 days with no trophies seemed like it was exhausting me mentally. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I was also like, I also had a late night last night, and of course early morning for the challenge. I guess it's actually kind of a not an early morning for me. Actually, I slept an hour later than usual. Probably graveyard that. Yeah, the last 2 streams were really rough. Really rough. Wednesday's stream was so good. I feel like we just used up all of our good fortune. Volume Simulacrum. Keep a land here. Next round of the challenge should start soon, which is like really the only reason I need to close this game out quickly, but I feel like if we play patiently, we should be able to get this match. Who's the most underrated ninja besides Sakura? Good question. Maybe oh, is it Keenan? The paper ninja in the Akatsuki. I feel like she's a little underrated. Guy, I feel like I mean, maybe Guy was underrated at like towards the beginning of the series, but I feel like he's rated pretty highly these days. Conan, yeah. Yeah, like, I think she's like, I feel like her power level was like a lot higher than like maybe they necessarily like showed off it, or not. I mean, when we saw her power level like that when she like surprised Obito, she had like one really cool moment, but we never really got to see her in action, you know. Besides like that one scene where she like super prepped to try to kill Obito. Yeah, I feel like she really needed like one more fight, so I would probably call her most underrated. Why is Flusterstorm the one-mana counterspell of choice right now over a card like Spell Pierce? Because of the Cascade matchups, these blue decks will often lose to like upkeep Violent Outburst into with Force of Negation, or you know, end of turn Violent Outburst with Force of Negation, and Flusterstorm is really good at beating that. Soul Guy power level when he fights Itachi looking to choose knife to get caught by Genjutsu. Yeah. Man. We probably talk about Naruto a little too much, but I enjoy it. Alright, let me iterate here. I appreciate all the non-Naruto fans letting us have pointless conversations about a 20-year-old anime. I have Delirium. Can even cast Murktide with Counterspell up. That's kind of perfect here. How many prismatic endings is enough? I've been running two Vanishing Verses. I think that you need 4 prismatic endings in the Reanimator decks. Not only is Prismatic Ending one of the best cards in the format, but Prismatic Ending also like answers every single card that your deck is soft to. You know, it answers it answers, you know, Rest in Peace, Sanctifier and Vac, Relic of Progenitus, Soul Guide Lantern. I guess it doesn't answer Leyline of the Void, but that card's not super common, or at least I thought going into yesterday. I would not register any Reanimator deck without 4 Prismatic Endings at the moment. What's my take on Gundam? I used to have a roommate that was really into it. I guess I'm countering this. I used to have a roommate that was really into it, but there's just like series like that, series like the Fate series, they just like, how do you ever get into them? It's just so much. Yeah, because if we don't counter that, my opponent can maybe cast an Eldrazi. Oh, you were on Remainder, back on Control. I see. Well, I wouldn't recommend Vanishing Verse in general at the moment, say, but I would also like definitely recommend 4 endings in that deck too, but I'm less passionate about it there, I guess. Oh, but the challenge has started. Okay, let me just go ahead and resolve mulligans real quick. We finish this game up, hopefully. Oh, we're dead. Oof. I think my opponent's last card is, you know, some expensive spell here. I mean, killing the Filigree Familiar seems like a trap. I probably should have put the Charm in my hand, but they're just gonna be dead next turn. What was the reason to graveyard the second Murktide? I mean, we didn't have enough spells in the yard to make this Murktide lethal right at the time. At 3. In exiling, we turn off Delirium if we exile any more than just 1, so I feel like it wasn't like a card that was gonna do anything. My opponent's also mulled to 6. We'll join them. I'm gonna keep this hand and put back Watery Grave. This is the challenge match, which we're currently 2-1 in the challenge. 1-0 in the lead. Why does Mono Blue Tron run Filigree? Why does Mono Blue Tron do anything? Alright, opponent's mulled to 5. No companion. What was lost against? The blue-white control deck. I know I could have navigated that game better. But they also like drew like kind of perfectly off the top at like 3 draw steps in a row. But I shouldn't complain too much because we really could have played better. I wonder what kind of deck plays Inspiring Vantage, Monastery Swiftspear, but no Luris. As this is not Life Total Control we're playing against because they play Luris. Spike, how could you constantly make fun of burn players? How every single time you play this deck, you're making fun of burn players. That you're not representing us accurately. Fair enough, chatter. Fair enough. I wish I wasn't. Is there home for Dakin Shadow Slayer? I think Dakin's fine if Esper Stoneblade is good, but it's like really just like very much dependent on that archetype being playable. I don't know what any of those words mean. Weathered. Yeah, opponent's obviously playing Incinerator Burn Spike. I'm just holding up Counterspell here. Just kind of content to sit back, not let them use their mana. The Dakin card, the Great Crit would be good. It's kind of seems kind of slow right now. I don't think that there's nothing to it though. Yeah, it's 400 subs now. We got like 250 gift subs. Everybody was just like, Postboard gifted 100. It was like 50. Then Naughty gifted 50. Then Donnie gifted 50. And then Postboard gifted another 50. And so it's just like, I felt a bit silly taking all these gifted subs. And then there were like more like 10 packs and 5 packs. People were just going nuts, like getting out of control. And I felt a bit silly, like taking all this money and then like this like 5 minutes of gifted subs would have been more than like this big bet we're building up to, right? You know, like 5 minutes of gifted subs would have been bigger than the whole bet. So I felt a bit silly keeping it at 200, so I doubled it. The league ends September 15th, so we have, I think, 24 days. This would definitely be a Luris game, by the way. This would definitely be a Luris game. Take the money and be happy. Well, I've always been pretty bad at that. I've never been very good at taking the money and being happy. Buy each of his house, deal. Deal. Look under your seats, there's a house. Sunbay Canyon on top. You literally play card games for money on the internet, but that made me feel silly. I mean, it did, right? Like, I've been like, this trophy race thing has been like incredibly hype and people are like really invested in it, and the bet is obviously not the whole thing. I think people are more invested in just like the challenge to be trophy leader. But I definitely feel silly, you know, having you know, basically getting the bet comped for me in like 5 minutes. So I think we iterate this turn because we don't have that many spells in the yard for Murktide at the moment. I think I'll hand bolt. No, we can probably Counterspell is probably a bit better, huh? I told Esther about the bet. Yeah, she knows about the bet. Talked about it before we made it, of course. Infinity, thanks for the host, dude. I'm gonna just use a Swift Spear. Oh, yeah. I think that I agree that people are more hyped for the race itself than about like the gifted sub thing, and like that's mostly like banter. But like, I mean, just like the presence of stakes, just like the presence of like actual stakes, I think makes things a lot more interesting, and like it makes me personally like more invested and more engaged, and I think it's just, you know, good for everything. 9, 1 point short if we dash the Ragavan. I know that they have Swift Spear, so I feel like I could just go cast Ragavan, attack for 9, and then not really die to too much here. Someone stay stake. I haven't had stake in a while. Do the bet for 200 stakes. I'll mail everybody a stake if I lose. Alright, so we get to bring in the Flusterstorms. Probably cut the 4th iteration. Ragavan's, I think, good at the matchup. I like Charm too. I like the 1 mana red removal. I like the Murktides. I think you need the Thought Scours for the Murktides. Maybe I'll cut a Ragavan and then like the 3rd iteration. Man, cutting the iterations is kind of crazy. I'll cut a Scour. Cut a Scour. The 1 Charm, 1 Regent. Yeah, you can maybe cut a Regent, but the card's also really good in the matchup. I can see maybe cutting the 4th Regent before the 4th Ragavan. Just like the early plays matter so much because like they kind of have to kill Ragavan, you know. And like any one trading 1 mana for a burn spell is just always a good exchange usually in this matchup. I thought this deck was extinct. Do you think it's well positioned? Yeah, I think it's getting better positioned with the resurgence of Tron, where I think this deck is very good against the Tron decks. And it's also like, you know, never been truly bad. Yeah, burn is also picking up in popularity, which I think this deck is good against too. I could try to just keep this hand and turn 2 Murktide. Probably could take a mulligan. This year's with Searing Blaze. Yeah, you've got Flusterstorms. You get Searing Blaze, you get Searing Blaze. I remember when every Magic player, when they're like getting into Magic, like sees a card and go, oh, this is busted, this should be banned. And for me, that card was Searing Blaze, because I would always go Delver of Secrets and they would just Searing Blaze it. I'm like, how is this card legal? Who designed the Searing Blaze card? I could never beat it. It's just way too good. I just like couldn't ever figure out how to beat Searing Blaze. I still haven't. Yeah, I think Spell Pierce is good in this matchup. I agree. Against which deck cards Teferi Time Raveler good, bad? Teferi is very good against the Cascade decks, although it can be a little slow, but usually is good against them. Very good against control decks, and it's usually never just terrible, but it's not particularly good against I guess it's kind of fine against elementals. Maybe Teferi is never bad, huh? I still go Delver of Secrets in the Searing Blaze. I mean, there's a lot of matchups where Teferi is like very medium. It's a lot of red-black decks. Main phase Bolt me. What deck is the best investment? It's kind of hard to answer questions about like that question specifically, since I can't tell you for you what the best investment is, right? Because I don't know what decks you like because personal enjoyment is a huge part of investment, right? Like everybody gravitates towards different archetypes. This is a game, people want to play different types of decks. So yeah, it's very hard for me to ever answer like what deck would be the best for people to buy into, because that answer is just going to be different for everybody, you know. Kind of weird to not play the Swift Spear first, because I only had 1 mana up. Not like I had the ability to counter that. I guess I could have had. I mean, even it still gets Flusterstormed actually, even if they don't play the Swift Spear first. Also, it's just like so painful how in both of these games, Lurrus would have been relevant, you know, but my opponent just not playing Lurrus. Awesome Ironclad. Good luck going forward with it. I think I'll go ahead and fire off this Counterspell. It's kind of bad if my opponent's like sandbagging Eidolon, but you do just kind of want to trade 1-for-1 when you can in this matchup, I feel. Don't say the argument against Lurrus. What is it? It's 15 sideboard card. That's the argument against Lurrus. I don't think I'm cracking my fetch lands. I think the life loss matters less than the thinning. We straight up lose this game if my opponent has Lurrus in their deck, I think. But like we just have a solid chance to win because my opponent doesn't. Alright, let's see what we got. Iteration on top, deal. Let's hold this to bluff a counterspell. I don't think I'm ever cracking it. Satellite BG, thank you for a 6-month reset. Appreciate you. Can we get a Jade Avenger emote? Oh, dude, I need to commission a Jade Avenger and a Steel emote. Although, in what context would you use the Jade Avenger one? They have a 3rd Boros Charm. They have Eidolon. I guess we lose this game anyways. Luris was bad all along. Never mind. Luris unnecessary all along. Every context, I see. Oh, Jimmy stuff for a year if we get a Jade Avenger emote. Alright, I'll try to commission one. I mean, I will. Should have some time for tomorrow to do it. Some days my day to do stuff kind of behind the scenes, you know? Alright, I guess we need to draw another Murktide. Literally any other spell in our deck does nothing. Or I did this game. Yeah, of course Luris is bad. Please put me out of my misery, opponent. Just got control tier 2 at least. Well, I mean, so when we're talking about tiers, like I usually like to not think about tiers in the sense of like how good or bad is a deck, you know? Usually when I'm talking about tiers, if I'm going to call a deck tier 1 or tier 2, sorry, I didn't mean to take this off, just gotta fix my hair. Usually when I'm going to call a deck tier 1 or tier 2, what I mean by that is going to be that these are going to be like the format defining decks. If I'm going to call a deck tier 1 or tier 2, these are the decks that I'm like gearing to beat. These are the decks I'm like preparing for. These are the decks I feel is well positioned. At the moment, I don't necessarily feel like a deck like Jeskai Control is one of those. But it might be a reasonable choice to play. Well, this hand's great. This is bad. Really want a solid control deck. I mean, there are solid control decks. I've been playing a lot of them. There's also like, you can play the blue-black Thing in the Ice deck with Luris. You can play the Jeskai Murktide control deck. You can play the Wafu blue-white list. I think that list is pretty good. There's a good Bant list rolling around. I've been playing Reclamation, which is basically a control deck that I like. Oh, this is game 3. You can see it on the screen on the record tracker. So tier 3 decks are decks that see play some of the time. Yeah, and yeah, decks that you do expect to see some amount of the time, and also decks that like I personally don't think are like good. Also, are usually tier 3 decks where they are played, but I don't think they're that good. Like Sewer. Sewer is a great example, I think. I'm gonna Thought Scour myself here. What do you do with the Boros Prowess deck? We went 2-1 drop. We're still trying to get these trophies. Trying to catch back up to Prince. The bet. He looks on top. Which tier is Luris Bird? I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. My head is starting to hurt from this like metal plate. Maybe just loosen the headband a bit. Where's the fun of that, I guess? I think I'm just gonna draw 2. Really want to find a threat here. We can go to 16. Well, hopefully this isn't going to be a repeat of last game or just flat out super bad. Okay. Confirmed, not a repeat of last game. You mana 8/8 flyer, your go. Which had your headband for a shard cat. I think I'll just keep it up like this. For now, at least. And just getting here with 4 Chalice Man. Yeah, we tried that a little while ago. I'm glad to hear it. Are you playing Sideboard? Are you playing Sideboard Ragavans? Because I kind of like the idea of like swapping in Ragavans in the matchups that you cut your Chalices. I don't think it's necessarily exactly where you want to be, but just kind of like the thought. What's the deal with the headband? It's kind of like a long story, I guess, but
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
also thinking Dancing Crooks of Shadow. I don't think you want it. I think that thinking Dancing Shrines more control decks. So like so I'm sure like you notice like there's like a little bit of a Naruto sub theme with like the emotes and the opening screen, and that like that Naruto sub theme on the channel, whatever, is it's not just because I'm a fan of the series. I am, but it's really because my friends who play Magic, we've always it started off as like an inside joke where we just started calling one of our friends Hokage, and our Magic group chat ended up being like as a joke Naruto themed, and we all had like little like ninja nicknames, and before tournaments we'd send each other like gifts from the series or like little like soundtracks from the series to get ourselves hyped up, right? And when I was starting the stream, a lot of my friends from that group chat, my friends who play Magic, helped me like set up the emotes. They helped me set up everything. So I wanted to keep that. I wanted to keep that feeling for the channel because it's always been a big part of Magic for me. Is that group chat and those friends, you know. Miss Lethal at the end of turn bolts. Well, I can also cast bolts on my turn. I did not miss lethal. Like I got the lethal. We didn't miss it. We just can untap and still cast the bolt because Expressive Iteration has now given blue decks a fantastic card draw spell that hasn't really existed in Modern. That's maybe always been somewhat of a against Lurrus. I think I put back Counterspell. It's always been somewhat of like a missing element of Modern, is like card draw spells have always been a little lackluster, but Expressive Iteration is like the best card draw spell in Modern, and it wants you to be a little bit lower to the ground too. And you know, if you play Iteration and you have a fantastic card draw spell, you don't really need see if we get Delirium here. You don't need sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. You don't need Cryptic Command as much to give you card advantage because you have it with the iteration. Yeah, except those couple months of Treasure Cruise, that's true. Yeah, you're right, there have been some spots, of course. Folks, So look, might be the Grixis Dress Down Shadow deck. Might be a more mid-rangey variance. We get Delirium off the iteration here. Could have been better to hold up Charm. I think I like getting the Delirium. Don't think I want to put that land there. Yeah, let's go. And bottom, exile. That's the monkey. Oh wait, sorry. I thought that we were missing a sorcery in the yard. Sorry, I thought we were missing a sorcery. That was wrong. You see about Harvest being a legitimate Modern cantrip? I've tried it. I really haven't been impressed by it. I feel like it is better in Legacy, where like the cards are more similar usually. Microwave Pizza, thank you for Twitch Prime. It's also true like in Legacy, like you really don't want to draw too many lands. It's just death if you draw too many lands. But in Modern, like you're pretty happy to get hit like 5-6 mana in a lot of games. It's kind of a different equation, you know. Dash the monkey. Thank you, Microwave Pizza. Love to see a new subscriber. Any thoughts of going back to Bant Valkyrie Miracle? I mean, I did like that deck. I would like to play it again at some point. Oh, I would have also liked to draw this one. Yeah, I would like to play that deck again at some point. It's just gonna, like, specifically the Miracle version is gonna be dependent on how well positioned I think Terminus is, and I don't think Terminus is very good against the Ragavan decks at all. But you know, modern is definitely a format where things come around. You know, it can be very slow, and like your favorite deck might not be well positioned very long out of the year, or for you know, maybe your favorite deck is well positioned for like a couple weeks out of the year. But I do think that eventually things do come back around to most strategies. The metagame does fluctuate a lot. Sometimes that has to happen because of bannings, but things really do seem like they come around as time moves on. That makes things kind of weird. I'm just gonna attack and see if this connects. A really weird concession. Did they know about the bolt? They might have known about the bolt. It's cutting counterspell in this matchup. Maybe I should play like the first. Maybe I should play just two counterspell, no 1 mana counter magic. Or it could be kind of good. The lanterns feel really important to beat Kroxa. Maybe 3 lanterns too many. Play 2. Maybe I should only have 2 lanterns on my board if I only want 2 in this matchup. Especially now that these decks are only playing 2 Kroxa. Anything would change in the Valka deck? Maybe cut Terminus. Yeah, I mean, I played a Sultai variant of the deck, just like very similar to what we were doing pre-MH2 recently, and I 5-0'd with it, and there's a lot of different ways you can build that deck. Kind of hard to mulligan in this matchup. The most of 6. I'll join them. But again, it's kind of like you definitely want to keep some like sketchier hand, just because mulliganing is really hard when resources are traded so quickly. Rin 7 upheaval deck. That sounds kind of fun. Alright, I don't usually click on Decklist for free, but Razor, cool. I don't get the Reclamation though. Reclamation only seems like it does anything if you have Rin or Teferi Time Raveler in play. That Reclamation seems bad. Seems fun, seems very slow though. Does seem very fun. Yeah, cube deck. Other Murktide, interesting. Well, I definitely want to get Murktide Regent out of the range of Unholy Heat, so I'm gonna make this one a 7/7. Does MTGO watch the board? Does someone call it? I don't know exactly. I have no idea how it works. It's one of life's mysteries how MTG bot does what it does. Just one of life's mysteries. I don't think I'm stealing here as much as I want to. It's better to hold up the counterspell. The Dimir control deck be upgraded to Grixis Dash Shadow deck? I mean, I think both decks are. Oh, the budget one? Not as easily as it could be upgraded into the, more controlling variants. But yeah, there's some overlap. I guess I kind of opened myself up to my charm getting round, and then they can now go kill my channeler with an instant and chump block, but that's just kind of fine. I think Blue-Red Murktide's pretty good right now. Like, I think that with the uptick of Tron and Burn, Murktide is kind of emerging back into favor. I also like the idea of Dress Down in the sideboard to help the Hammer Time and Elementals matchups. So my opponent's gonna Unholy Heat my put a card on top and then they shuffled. I think I'm just gonna go to blocks and then counter the other burns, the next burn spell. Yeah, just counter this. If they have a drown, or if they have a another heat, then they do get to kill my Murktide, but they're out of resources and I just have another Murktide. Okay, so we're 3-0 in this league. Pretty good. And then we're 3-1 in the challenge. Only 3 matches left. I'll keep this. My opponent didn't reveal Lurrus, so they're, you know, less likely to be able to kill a Ragavan on turn 1. And so this hand is very good if we draw either a land, or if we connect with Ragavan and can just iterate on turn 2. I'll definitely mulligan this on the draw. No. No. I can't believe it. Oh, I also can't believe they're attacking. I can't believe they just attacked here. But it's fun. I know Lurrus, but I can't believe it. Okay, everything that just happened was very silly. Yeah, and I didn't find the land. Okay, this is gonna be a silly game, chat. It's gonna be a silly game. I do think this matchup's good. We beat it earlier this league. Yeah, Searing Blaze makes sense if they, you know, attack there. Imagine if we just have the Spell Pierce up for the Searing Blaze. Imagine if we had found the land for Spell Pierce. It's just over. Playing attack with a guy makes sense. It's just so hard to get hit by Ragavan, especially in this matchup, where like I could like hit Searing Blaze so easily. They don't know I'm on 1 land. I think I'm playing Ragavan holding up Spell Pierce. My opponent did miss a land drop. Thought Scour on top. Love for them to just main phase Boros Drum, which would make some sense, since you know, I don't, these decks don't always play Spell Pierce. Gonna settle for a 6/6 Murktide, which is a 3-turn clock, of course. What a weird game. No, this is actually not life total control. You can tell because my opponent did not reveal Lurrus as a companion. That's usually the way you can tell if you're playing against life total control or burn. I don't know. It's just so funny to me because this morning we were talking about it. This morning we were playing some life total control, some burn, whatever. Don't need to always be in character. And we were playing some of this deck, and someone in chat was asking about Lurrus as a companion to burn, and I know that I'm definitely just beating a dead horse at this point. I know I'm like, we talk about it way too much, but people like not only keep asking about it, they keep not playing Lurrus as a companion. And we had somebody in chat that was like, you need to stop this. You don't speak for all burn players. All you're doing is bad mouthing burn players. Not every burn player is like this. And I mean, one, I was just really responding to people in chat, but two, they are. This is the second match of this league we've played against a burn player without Lurrus, you know? The second match of this league that they've played burn without Lurrus. And like in that first match, Lurrus would have been relevant in both games we played against them. I'm being really hard on the burn players because I really think your deck would be a lot better if you played Lurrus and if you played Dragon Rage's Channeler. I've been playing a lot of Channeler, and I firmly believe it's the best card in the deck. I firmly believe Channeler is the best card in burn. Yeah, you need some tough love. You need to hear this. Lurrus, like, it just doesn't cost you almost anything. It's not worse than your 15th sideboard card. It's better than any sideboard card. Yeah, burn is the only deck that uses this 15th sideboard card excuse. It's just like, every other deck is just like, well, Lurrus is broken. Like, Hammer Time? You know what, Hammer Time? They don't play Batterskull and they don't play Cauldron in their Stoneforge Mystic deck, so they can play Lurrus. And like that is just like everybody agrees that that's good. Nobody is like really arguing that point. But in Burn, where there's no card that like stops you from playing Lurrus, you're in the colors already. You know, people are just like, I don't need it. Midnight, thank you for your Twitch Prime, appreciate ya. Alright, let's just play a tap Steam Vince here. All the other bolts. Which massive Seaboard and Dress Downs? They're mostly for Hammer Time and Elementals. Where that Murktide is just surrendering. I think trimming one is good, because it can be like very awkward to draw multiples in the early game. I could be wrong. More incentive to ban Lurrus, I guess. They're Naya, interesting. Burn is a budget deck, and thus they can't afford MTGO Premium, maybe. That's it, huh? So I'm gonna fetch and shock and kill the both players here. Why not just Torp Orb? Because Torp Orb is good against Elementals. It's not good against Hammer Time. I wanted more cards for both matchups. Evan, thank you for 26 months. It's a long time, buddy. Welcome back. Spins a Rift Bolts. Spins another Rift Bolts. I'm drawing 2 here. Bauble my opponent. They're drawing Scalding Tarn. Well, maybe we're just dead. I was really thinking we could find another Counterspell. They like so many Flusterstorms, Counterspell, Spell Pierce. I think that Ragavan and Goblin Guide are very close in the burn deck. I think that Ragavan is slightly better, but obviously, if you don't want to buy the Ragavans, I don't think that that's a really big deal. Is there any way to beat Cauldron with this deck? Yeah, you just steal it with Archmage's Charm. I think we're dead here, by the way. Feels really bad. Oh, we drew Flusterstorm. Wait, how am I not dead? My opponent's got 2 cards in their hand and they've been missing land drops. What's happening right now? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Good read, good read. Okay, so now they have to have 2 burn spells. Let's go. I don't know what their hand was. Maybe a Goblin Guide? Doom, thanks for the raid, dude. Sorry your challenge didn't go so well, we saw earlier. Currently, we're 4-1 in the challenge with Grixis Dress Down Shadow, and we're playing some Blue-Red Murktide in between rounds. We're currently 3-0 in this league, and going to game 3 against Burn. Not life total control, because they don't have Lurrus. How was F&M last night, Doom? I'll keep this and put back the Bauble. Then I could play Ragavan and trade it with Goblin Guide. I think I'd rather use the Bolt on the Goblin Guide. I explain life total control. It's mostly a joke, but the joke, like, you know, we've been talking a lot on the channel about how Burn is like a good deck at the moment, and how I've been asking my chat for the longest time, hey, has anybody tested Dragon Rage's Channeler? Does anybody know if Dragon Rage's Channeler is good in Burn? And, you know, this wasn't what everybody said, but the like general consensus that I got when asking this question was that Channeler was medium in Burn. It was like kind of a mediocre, not clearly good. This was like the overwhelming consensus. And then I've been trying it, and in my opinion, Channeler is the best card in Burn. It just has been the best card in the deck for me. You know, maybe your results may vary, but I've been super impressed by it. Oh wait, there's Skewer on top? Awesome. Been super impressed by it. So you know, I've been playing a decent amount of it. I've been liking the deck, and we're calling it life total control partially because like people don't really want me to play burn. They want me to just play control decks all day, every day. And I'm going to play what I want, but we're calling it life total control deck as kind of a joke on them, but also a little bit of a joke on burn players, because I kind of want to counter this Rift Bolt. It's a little bit of a joke on burn players, since like I feel like they just haven't like tried to adapt the deck with the new cards enough, you know. I'm gonna counter this Rift Bolts. They're down to only 3 cards, and I feel like just like trading cards here is gonna be really important. I could cast Iteration here. It might just be good to hold up mana. It's probably a good window for Iteration. Let's go hand, bottom, exile, play this, cast Ragavan. Yeah, we replaced our old frog with Jade Avenger. Been very powerful. Have I taken this up with basic Mountain? I haven't. No, I know that P Sully's been playing Burn without Darcy, but he's been playing Luris. I haven't but I've also like at this point I've probably played 100 matches of the deck, and I like feel very confident that like that Channeler is like definitely really good in the deck. It's certainly felt like the best card to me, and I don't don't necessarily feel like I need to discuss it with anybody. What mean tier in Modern for me? For me, the tiers are mostly defined by how popular decks are. I usually like tier 1 is gonna be the most popular decks that you're trying to beat. So like, Hammer Time, Living End. Right now, Tron is really popular. I'm probably not cracking this fetch anytime soon. And then tier 2 are like other decks that are well positioned in a metagame that's defined by the tier 1 decks. So like the Grixis Dress Down Shadow deck is like, I think an excellent tier 2 deck because it's a very well positioned deck in this metagame because of what the tier 1 decks are. Burn is also somewhat, I would put tier 2 because it's kind of well positioned in this environment, I feel. That's usually how I would define, the tiers. I don't think DRC is good for burn. If they remove a spell, you basically lose the game on the spot. That's absolutely not true. Like, if you're on the draw and your opponent has a removal spell, it's exactly the same as it would be with any other creature. And it's also definitely true, like, if you don't play the Channeler on turn 1, and I know Burns players are just obsessed with turn 1, but if you don't play the Channeler on turn 1, you are going to get value out of it. You're going to get value out of it. You're going to be able to surveil, smooth out your draw steps. The card hits really hard. The card and just like burn, not being able to convert and not being able to draw enough burn spells is like how they lose a huge number of games. This is a huge number of games that burn players lose. It's because they just flood out, and Channeler is great insurance against that. Was Murktide tier 1 and tier 2? Tier 2, I would say. Tier 2. It's not super popular at the moment. But I'm also like really not. I'm not even debating. Like this is not really honestly an invitation for debate. I've played like 100 matches of Bird in the last week, and Channeler has consistently felt like the best card in the deck. And Channeler has consistently felt like the best card in the deck. This really isn't. I am just telling you, this is my opinion on the matter. If you disagree, that's fine. It doesn't matter. We can have our differences. We can have a difference of opinion here. It's fine. I'm just telling you, like, this is my opinion, and I'm really just not changing my mind anytime soon. Oh, dude, this hand's really close. You have to rethink aggro mirror approach. You played too aggressively while I weren't the beatdown. What are you talking about? And then if we're talking about specifically game 2 there, I didn't play aggressively at all. My hand was all reactive spells the entire game. I didn't play aggressively at all. I think I keep this. Like, this hand obviously is very good. If we draw 1 land, we've got 2 looks, and then just the Thought Scour Murktide's very powerful. Should I main phase the Thought Scour? I guess I should, because I could draw Bauble, which gives me an extra look at the land. Oh, sorry, I didn't even realize we were on the draw. This Rhinos. Rhinos can be kind of tough. We do have Counterspell. And then the Murktides are also can be quite strong in this matchup too. They're gonna ice me. I think I bolt them just to get another card in the yard for Murktide next turn. Then I imagine they Charlotte's Agent. Yeah, I think this matchup's very close. And my opponent's definitely not. Oh, I guess they're Rhinos. Living In doesn't often play Fire Ice. So I mean, I really feel like this game comes down to do they have Brazen Borrower or not. What format? This is the modern format. It is a older format compared to historic or standard. It's been around for 10 years actually, and I believe it's every set in Magic from 7th edition to the current Magic set, with a couple of supplemental sets in the Modern Horizons ones. Oh, come on. And of course a ban list like every format. Yeah, I mean, there's just not much to do about Ice on the play into Charlotte's Agent into Petty Theft. 8th edition, yeah, I always get that wrong. Why he Agent rather than Bolt, because I'm trying to kill my opponent, and with me casting Murktide Regent, I'm not getting Delirium for Heat this game, and I might be able to burn them out. What do you think about Chalice? Isn't Injure Explosives much better against Rhinos and Hammer Time? Well, Chalice is also good in Living End, but I'm not currently playing Chalice. Well, this isn't great. Well, I'm not just dead on board. We're playing for a trophy, so I'm gonna cast the Murktide and make a 4/4. My opponent's pausing though, so they have something here. I can't leave up Counterspell either. Things do get better post board. We have 3 Flusterstorms and 2 explosives. And Fire Ice is so sick in that deck. Charm is also like kind of good against them. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut the 4 Heats and a Bolt. Ragavan's very good on the play. Yeah, I think I would probably say that Rhinos is favored game 1, and then Murktide is favored games 2 and 3. Yeah, Fire Ice is great. It's really, I've been really liking it in decks beyond just guy. Yeah, you can steal a Rhino with Charm, and then they spend 3 mana, they get 2 Rhinos. Then you spend 3 mana, steal a Rhino, trade a Rhino, so you get to counter their plan a little bit. Honestly, Flusterstorm is the only good card versus Rhinos. I mean, Explosives is good against them, I think. I found it to be good. Ragavan's good on the play, it's worse on the draw. Murktide's fine against them if they don't have Petty Theft. Do you really want this win? MTGO's top 6 leader for trophy. Just off the scoreboard. Oh wow! If MTGO Bazaar wins this match, they get on the board on this on the on-screen graphic. That's kind of cool. We're gatekeeping. Yeah, if they win this match, they're on the graphic. That's cool. All right, on the play. Yeah, Ragavan on this hand's just phenomenal. Dress Down is in the sideboard for the Elementals and Hammer Time matchups. But if I fall off the graphic, there's like no way I could fall off the season. Just not really. I would have to like not get another trophy, and like the 18 trophy people would have to have an insane rest of the season. Bit unfortunate. Yo, Fish, 7 months, appreciate ya. Plane Chase. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for the transition. That's what I have to do to stay relevant. You just figured out a good counter for Flusterstorm? Is it Mindbreak Trap? I don't think that works. You know, 4 and 5 of the leaderboard are playing. I know that Tunneling Cat usually plays Eldrazi Tron. I don't know about Andy. Well, Rhinos doesn't want to play a Flusterstorm to counter a Flusterstorm, since kind of awkward with their Cascade. Okay. I really don't want them to kill this. It's just such a headache. I don't know what to do if they do. I guess I can counter because I have Archmage's Charm to deal with the first Rhinos. Yeah, I think countering this is fine. It's just so bad for us if my opponent like kills this and they untap with Violent Outburst up. I'm just in a really bad spot. Yeah, I like the deck a lot, Jones. I'm glad you're liking it too. I also find like it explosives or Flusterstorm off the opt. Tide Regent. I said opt thought. I meant Thought Scour. Of course. If they forced that, it would have been bad. Yeah, if they forced this counterspell, it would have been bad. Yeah. Oh, but I still have the charm to steal a Rhino. You know. Dead Gun on top, wow. Ragavan, we hardly knew ye. Putting out a little bit. My opponent can gone my Rhino. Looks like they're probably gonna dead and then cast a 3-mana spell. Other Shardless Agent would be bad. Petty Theft is, I guess, gonna have to be fine. Wait, why did they shock? They have Dispute up too? They have Dispute? I guess we can pay for Dispute on the Charm. Is stealing this Rhino? Probably. So bad if they have another Cascade spell. But with the Dispute, I don't feel like, or with me reading that they have Dispute, I don't think it makes much sense to draw 2 because they can counter the next thing I do. Dead Gone for Ragavan. They already cast the Dead Gone. Is why they left it up? No, they already cast the Dead Gone. They shocked and they left a mana up. They cast Dead Gone Petty Theft. It's Dispute. I think, right? It could be another Dead Gone, but they've already cast 2. Dispute makes way more sense. Spins of Footfalls, plays this tapped, so I'm assuming they also have the Borrower. I guess fetching here could be bad because I'm dead to 2 attacks of this. But now I'm gonna bolt the Borrower. Should have left them attack with Agent. If I let them attack with the Agent, the Rhino gets to attack 2, and I don't get to block the Agent with the Rhino. And so I just take 2 extra damage if I do that. Yeah, they have to have Dispute. I mean, it could be another Dead Gone, but it feels much more likely to me that it's Dispute. And now the question is, do I bolt the Borrower actually, or I think I just bolt them. Yeah, I think I just try to bolt them. I mean, not, you know, I hold the bolt is maybe better where if my opponent has more Rhinos, then we're probably going to have to just bolt them and try to draw another bolt. And but if they play like Bone Crusher Giant, we probably need to bolt the Bone Crusher. Okay, so they could have a 2 damage burn spell here, but I guess I can counter that now. I know Borrower wasn't gonna block. Did I say that? I mean, but the Borrower can like try to race, is why I would want to bolt the Borrower. Where like here, my Rhino's killing them next turn, right? So I don't know that I need to save this bolt anymore for their face. I feel like I should just kill the Borrower. Because if they draw like ice for the Rhinos, I guess I could counter the ice, but I'm just gonna bolt the Borrower. I can still pay for Dispute, which we think that they have. Not conceding. No real reason not to cast this. I can still pay for Dispute on Counterspell. Just gonna let this resolve. Okay. Make him do it, I guess. Rakaghoul, 7 months. Welcome back. Appreciate ya. Alright, it all comes down to this. All comes down to this. I am curious if we... So the leaderboard shows any person on the board getting a trophy. I wonder if it's going to show if they win. I wonder if they're going to go up to number 5. And it's also going to say that they get a trophy, or if they're just going to go up to number 5. Well, I guess they actually go up to number 3, then Andy gets knocked off. I'll do my best, Matt. I'm working really hard on it. Can I explain why I didn't pay 3 for the iteration? Yeah, sure. So if I pay for 3 for iteration, there's not much off the iteration I can cast that's more relevant than the counterspell, right? Whereas if I pay 3 for iteration and my opponent's hand is like petty theft, another dispute, then all of a sudden they petty theft and I counterspell and I can't pay for the dispute because I paid for the iteration. Do you keep this hand? I don't think so. It's a lot better. What is Dress Down good against? Dress Down is good against Elementals and Hammer Time. That's like specifically the 2 matchups I have it in the sideboard for at the moment. I think I put back a land. Obviously Ragavan's not super likely to live, but kind of better than them icing my land. And Ragavan could live. Ecopium. Hammer Time means good against Saga. That and Sanctifier in Vec, where Sanctifier in Vec is they bring in like 3 post board against you. Sanctifier is really good against this deck. And then Dress Down gives you an out to Sanctifier. But it has Dispute on top. It's really bad. That's a good card to draw though. Yeah, we'll definitely like a land. Love that one though. Love that one. We'll take it. I think they should cast Dead on their turn. I think if I dash Ragavan, it's a bad exchange for them. They waited because they were playing around another dashed Ragavan, but I agree that that probably wasn't like a very good line that they took. Pretty sure I Flusterstorm this. I can just definitely get tempoed out if my opponent has Force of Negation and I counterspell. Obviously it does stink to not use my mana a bit more efficiently. And we're probably getting got by Force down the line. If I knew I was drawing a land, like I could go counterspell, I'll get forced, maybe bait them into Rhinosing again, and then I could maybe get some value off the explosives. It's a bit tricky. Entirely possible that cowards can't block warriors. Okay, so if they had force, I think they would have used it there, right? How do you feel about Kozilek's Return as coverage for Elementals, Hammer Time, Sanctifier this deck? Well, Kozilek's Return is not good against Elementals. And it's okay against Hammer Time, but I think Dress Down is better at doing that role, you know? If they force there, don't they get to counter 1 copy? Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is Flusterstorm covers force. I didn't mean to take 8. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I can't believe I took 8 there. Forget for talking. Could actually end up working out well. I know my opponent has Dispute, so there's not really much point holding up the Counterspell. Did I create the Rhinos deck? I mean, I was definitely like an early innovator of it. I literally posted a Rhinos list 5 minutes after Shardless Agent was confirmed for the for Modern Horizons 2, but there was a lot of parallel thinking with it, of course. Gosh, we're in so much better shape if I just don't punt there. Although, actually, if they had that Shardless Agent in their hand, it's really not that different. We know that they have Dispute though, so we don't really have many outs here, or any outs. Because literally any of our cards we play just gets disputed. Let's make him do it. Trophy 28's been a hard one to get. Trophy 28's been a hard one to get. So watch the graphic. It should change here. Or were they not?